So what we're doing today is we're trying to really bring some attention to the compensation and livable workforce issues that plague our field in general as a profession.
It is so important. I've been in the field for 33 years. In all of these years, it's just an undervalued and underpaid profession.
Laura Larson and Laura Glover are both child care professionals who are among the hundreds that filled the halls of the State House to speak up against proposed cuts to child care funding in the governor's budget. Another part of that message was just how critical child care is to the state's economy and workforce.
I think our biggest thing is we really want to bring to the issue, this is not an early childhood education only issue or a family issue. It's an economic issue. Without us, nurses don't go to work. Teachers don't go to work. Police officers can't go out to work. I just think that it's important for them to realize that people aren't just paying for childcare. I'm not paying for somebody else's childcare. I'm paying for people to go to work and then service the community that they then support.
Parents in attendance echoed that call to action, including Jill Barkley Roy, who says their childcare is a vital part of their family's financial situation.
I mean that my wife and I would not be able to go to our jobs. We need our childcare so that we can do our work. And it's so vital that these cuts do not go into effect so that we can continue to work and our childcare workers can be paid what they deserve.
At odds in the budget is a stipend that helped raise wages for childcare workers during the pandemic, which helped attract workers and ease costs from business owners.
Already, we have a hard time finding and staffing our center, finding quality and educated people to work in our field. And so these cuts can only make an already dire situation even more critical.
At the State House, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, protesters frustrated over President Trump's sweeping changes gathered outside the federal building in Bangor on Tuesday. About a dozen people holding signs showing their disapproval of Trump's handling of Ukraine, federal job cuts, and tariffs, with Canada gathered at lunchtime to voice their frustrations. The protest on Harlow Street was organized by Bangor resident Marianne Larson.
Really hoping that Democrats and independents can become a lot more vocal in their opposition to what's going on. They need to get louder.
Things have changed very quickly since the inauguration, and I'm fearful for our country.
Motorists passing by honked their horns in support of Tuesday's protest or stopped by to offer encouragement to those who were in attendance.
Maine's largest media company is facing dozens of layoffs and cuts to their weekly publications. According to centralmaine.com, the Maine Trust for Local News is cutting, or in some cases, eliminating altogether publications of weekly newspapers. They say they're also transitioning to mail delivery of daily newspapers in some markets. All the changes are part of an effort to cut costs and concentrate their resources on digital platforms. Because of all this, 49 jobs will be cut. The affected areas include print production, distribution, and advertising. Management with the trust say they plan to increase news-related staffing at some point this year. There were no exact numbers given as to what savings will be achieved by the cuts and layoffs. All right, the time now is 6:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, as the city of Bangor experiences an outbreak of HIV, it's considering a new partnership to get dirty needles off the streets. We'll tell you what's happening.
But first, another check of the weather forecast today. We can expect a wintry mix and rain with highs near 44 degrees. Rain and fog overnight. It will be windy too, with lows dropping down to the low 40s. Tomorrow, rain showers and fog with highs around 49. Going to be a warm day. We'll be back right after this.
This morning, first thing, the American Idol Takeover is on GMA with Luke, Lionel, and the newest judge and Idol legend, Carrie Underwood, hitting GMA Live.
It's going to be fantastic.
The live morning event breaks this morning on
Good Morning America.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry and Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're going to fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
Ugh, when is my allergy spray gonna kick in?
You need Astapro.
Astapro?
It's faster, bro. 8 times faster than Flonase.
It's faster, bro.
It's faster, bro.
It's faster, bro.
It's mom to you.
Astapro starts working in 30 minutes. Astapro and go.
This is my playpen.
I get that, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Judge Judy never misses a beat.
Weeknights at 5 on ABC7.
The excitement returns.
The Jeopardy Invitational Tournament.
Players from the past are back.
Fantastic game.
Only one will emerge champion.
That was an all-timer of a game.
The Jeopardy Invitational Tournament.
Who knows what's next?
This week at 7:30, only on ABC7.
Welcome back, everyone. A man from Garland has pleaded guilty to possessing child pornography. 24-year-old Clancy Scott entered the plea Tuesday during a hearing in Somerset County Superior Court. Authorities say Scott had more than 100 images and videos of child sexual abuse. According to the Morning Sentinel, Scott was sentenced to serve 1 year of a 4-year prison term. He has also been ordered not to have any contact with anyone under the age of 18 and will spend the rest of his life as a registered sex offender.
As Penobscot County continues to grapple with an HIV outbreak, the city of Bangor is considering a partnership with an area nonprofit to reintroduce a syringe waste program. Our Grace Blanchard has the details.
Since 2024, certified syringe providers in the Bangor area have seen a dramatic increase in people using harm reduction services.
These services have never been more critical.
According to the co-CEO of Bangor nonprofit Wabanaki Public Health and Wellness, they have received over 30,000 used syringes and distributed over 20,000 sterile syringes in the last 2 months through their certified syringe program.
The issues with substance use disorder, coupled with issues around lack of housing, people are struggling.
Amidst the latest spikes in HIV cases, the Bangor City Council is now considering a 1-year agreement with the nonprofit to begin a syringe waste program. The program would dedicate additional time to syringe cleanup and community education.
Syringe services is an important tool in this outbreak response.
According to the latest data from the Maine CDC, majority of the population that are being directly impacted by the HIV cluster in Penobscot County are experiencing or have experienced homelessness within a year of diagnosis.
Just because we are a dry shelter doesn't mean the folks that we have here hadn't used in the past. So that affects them also. It doesn't mean they're not coming in contact with some of these other folks. So it's a pretty big deal.
The city of Bangor previously worked with the nonprofit Health Equity Alliance on a similar partnership before the closure of their syringe exchange program.
Without that service, you end up seeing syringes in places that we really shouldn't be finding syringes.
The Bangor City Council plans to vote at their next meeting whether or not they plan to move forward with the contract with Wabanaki Public Health and Wellness. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Construction crews plan to reduce the southbound traffic on I-95 in Bangor to 1 lane today. It will take place where crews are replacing the bridges over Broadway. The Department of Transportation says they'll be setting up equipment in the area. It's all part of an ongoing project to replace the aging bridges and to enhance the safety of the intersections down below.
A new computer lab is set to open this month at Loaves and Fishes Food Pantry. The organization will now be able to provide technology services for residents. Desktop computers, printers, and high-speed internet access will be available for personal use. In-house workshop classes will also be held to teach residents about media literacy, safety, and to build their skills with technology.
We're interested in helping people move beyond their current situation. So yes, let's meet the needs today with food and resources they need today, but then let's look at how we can improve our lives and also help improve our self-efficacy.
Residents who do not have access to internet or technology can use the equipment and facility for free. This will allow many community members to build resumes and look for job opportunities. Loaves and Fishes' main goal for the computer lab is to allow the space to be used as a community center and allow people to give back to the community.
What a wonderful idea. Nice
Love
thing to
that.
do.
Yeah, internet is expensive and computers are expensive, and people need that resource in today's world.
Imagine if you didn't have the access to it, you know?
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
great deal.
All right, the time now is 6:19. Right after the break, health experts are warning this warm stretch could worsen our allergies come spring. We'll hear how to prepare.
Plus that 5-day weather forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
The other driver totaled my new truck and left me pretty seriously injured. As soon as I spoke with Joe Bornstein's office, I felt protected and safe. I knew calling Joe was the right decision. Joe Bornstein's office took care of everything. I didn't have to worry about it and could just focus on getting better. I'm extremely happy with the result, and I'd recommend Joe Bornstein's office to anyone who's been in an accident. Call and talk to them. It's free. Give them a chance to tell you what they can do for you.
Call Joe today for a free case evaluation. There's never a fee unless you win.
If you haven't walked through the showroom at Davis Brothers Furniture in a while, we invite you to come take a look. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest. For decades now, the goal has been the same. Give people a reason to travel from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford. Everything in our showroom is designed with you in mind, from a rustic lodge and barn look to traditional and even contemporary furniture. It's more than just a unique look, it's a lifestyle. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Welcome back, everyone. The first day of spring, or the spring equinox, is Thursday, March 20th, and forecasts estimate much of the nation is in store for severe allergy-inducing weather.
Medical experts say you should be using the time you have left to prepare before the pollen really starts exploding. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a closer look at how you can bolster your defenses.
While the chirping of birds is a welcome sign spring is approaching, this upcoming season may also be marked by plenty of sneezes. The Old Farmer's Almanac is forecasting warmer and wetter than average spring conditions for much of the country. Doctors say weather like this can trigger terrible allergy spells for millions, as flowering plants have more time to produce and release pollen. Health experts also warn this projected surge in temperatures is part of a larger allergy issue.
Seasonal allergies seem to be increasing with time. One of the hypotheses for this is that we actually are having less differentiation between our seasons as the global temperature is rising, and so people don't necessarily get that relief that they used to have in between season changes.
Early prevention is your first and best line of defense.
I advise people to start treating or preventing their allergy symptoms about a month before when they usually have trouble. The most common allergy treatments are antihistamines and corticosteroids.
Doctors also advise going outside at times when there's less pollen in the air.
Middle day is a little bit less allergenic than the earlier and evening hours.
But if your symptoms are severe from being outdoors,
after you've been exposed to the allergen, trying to get it off of your body. So washing off your face or taking a shower can help be an avoidance measure.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
Some good advice.
I know, I need to take it myself. All right, the time now is 6:23.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. We have winter weather advisories across the northern parts of the state, anywhere highlighted in purple until 1 o'clock this afternoon. We have some snow and a little bit of icy precipitation passing through, which has prompted that advisory. We'll see improvement later on. We also have a wind advisory along the coast until 3 o'clock on Thursday, and some alerts along the coast because of high surf that will be moving in. In fact, it's kind of moving in already. None of the buoys are reporting this morning, but you can see from the contours here, Anywhere you see these higher colors indicating some higher surf, so we're seeing some of that getting a little bit closer for us. But otherwise, here's what we got. We got rain that's been tracking through along the coast. We've had a wintry mix of icy precipitation not too far from Bangor, while further off towards the north, it's been mainly snow, and it is tracking off towards the east northeast. And as we do zoom things out, this is all part of that large system that's tracking off to the north and east, bringing showers and storms to a good part of the country and snow across parts of the Midwest as well. So futurecast for us, we have that rain and snow and that wintry mix that's passing through this morning. We'll transition to rain throughout the afternoon period with some breaks in that rain as well. But later on tonight, another wave of rain will be passing through, and again, some intermittent breaks throughout Thursday with some light showers possible later into the day. But then by Thursday night, we'll have some more rain and, yes, snow moving in as colder air begins to move in. So as for the snowfall, I'm only going to talk about today. Any additional snowfall will be taking place in the northern parts of the state. Not much of anything else further down toward the south with warming temperatures, but we will have a lot of water on the way in the form of rainfall and maybe some melted down snow as well. A good 1 to 2, maybe getting close to 3 inches of rain in a few spots before all of this begins to back off. But otherwise, wind's not much of an issue for now, but they will be increasing throughout the day and into the evening as well. Some gusts as we head towards tomorrow could reach up to 30 to, yes, even 40 miles per hour at times, and still some gusts along the coast as we head towards Thursday afternoon. Your forecast coming up for today, mid-40s. That wintry mix will be switching over to rain, and that south wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, we have rain, fog, and wind on the way with lows in the low 40s. That south wind at around 30 miles per hour. This temperature will be rising overnight. And then we have tomorrow, upper 40s, rain showers and fog, and that south wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast for your Friday. A morning chance for snow showers. Otherwise, for the most part, will be mostly cloudy. Clouds will be breaking up late in the day for your Friday. And then once we head towards Saturday, we'll be mostly cloudy, highs in the mid-30s. And then time change on Sunday, 2 a.m. becomes 3 a.m. We lose an hour of sleep. We'll be partly cloudy, highs in the low 30s.
At US Cellular, you don't have to choose between a great phone and the right phone plan for you. You can get 4 free phones of your choice and 4 lines for just $90.
That's like us not having to choose between tickets to wrestling or that puppet musical.
Because you get both.
US Cellular, built for us.
Today, there are so many Medicare options, and they can be confusing. This is why Senior Planning Center has locations and agents all over Maine to help you secure the benefits you deserve. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? See why thousands of Mainers turn to Senior Planning Center for their Medicare needs.
Don't call an out-of-state 800 number when your help is right here at home with the Senior Planning Center. For a free Medicare review, call 207-223-6565 and speak with a licensed agent today. No obligation to enroll.
It's markdown mania at the Furniture Gallery, and the deals are madness. Relax in this cozy recliner. Choose tan, gray, or brown for only $298. Grab a sofa chaise for just $598. Upgrade your living room with a sofa and love seat set, now just $798. Scott Living mattresses are now priced king size for a queen price. Plus, save up to 70% on in-stock clearance items. Hurry into the Furniture Gallery, shop our Maine family-owned business, and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
Hammond Lumber Company has been a trusted partner of professional contractors, do-it-yourselfers, and homeowners for generations. It's the level of trust that Hammond Lumber has earned by providing an extensive selection of products and materials from industry-leading suppliers, with guidance and support through every stage of any project, including delivery of materials throughout Maine and New Hampshire. Hammond Lumber Company is, has been, and will always be your building project partner.
Look, here's a phone company who wants us to use our phones less.
That's ironic.
Yeah, but in a good way.
Let's find us again with Us Mode. US Cellular, built for us.
It's a free ride.
But I already paid.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
The U.S. is squarely in an escalating trade war, with President Trump's long-threatened tariffs now in effect. While the president has said the move is intended to crack down on the drug war, economists warn it could also mean higher prices for Americans. Fox News senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has the latest on where shoppers could feel the biggest pinch on their wallets.
U.S. stocks closed lower Tuesday, uncertainty mounting among investors after newly imposed 25% tariffs by the Trump administration on Mexico and Canada went into effect.
You have a wall of worry. That wall of worry has led to market volatility that investors haven't seen in well over a year now.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warning Americans that prices will go up on both sides of the border.
This is a very dumb thing to do.
Where Americans could see prices rise the most, economists estimate, is with food. Both Mexico and Canada are major suppliers of fruits and veggies, as well as meats, grains, and poultry. Another category shoppers could feel the biggest sting: cars and car parts.
I mean, we're going to struggle, and they're going to struggle, and a lot of it is out of our hands.
And with more tariffs coming next week for China, electronics are also expected to go up in price. Target CEO Brian Cornell saying shoppers should brace for higher prices overall, with strawberries, avocados, and bananas expected to cost more within just a matter of days. Still, the Trump administration is defending the move.
Well, respectfully, this is not a trade war, it's a drug war.
After markets closed Tuesday, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said President Trump may announce a pathway for relief on Mexican and Canadian goods as soon as Wednesday. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Well, meanwhile, the Department of Education temporarily pauses access to applications for some popular income-driven repayment programs for student loan borrowers. The plans affected include income-based repayment, income contingent repayment, excuse me, pay-as-you-earn, as well as the Saving on a Valuable Education Plan, also known as SAVE, which was rolled out by the Biden administration. The agency says the move comes after a federal court upheld a temporary suspension of the SAVE plan last month because of a group of Republican-led states filed a lawsuit claiming it is illegal. The agency says it is reviewing repayment applications to follow the court's ruling and shared a notice on its website about the pause. The agency notes borrowers can still submit a paper loan consolidation application.
And coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll check out a local Catholic thrift store to see how they use the funds they raise to improve the education of local students.
That and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
If you've been hurt in a car accident, watch this.
I got hurt bad in this accident, so I called the Twos. The Twos guy turned this accident into $195,000.
The Twos guy turned this accident into $260,000.
I get a lot of money for a lot of Mainers. Money for lost earnings, money for medical bills, and money for all your pain and suffering.
$400,000 for my case.
Hurt in a car accident? I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
WVII, ABC7 cares about the children in our area. We offer a variety of programming for children ages 7 to 14. WVII, ABC7 keeps a file about these programs in our public inspection file. You may view these files during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The public inspection file is located at our studios at 371 Target Industrial Circle, Bangor, Maine 04401.
You've probably seen us out on the roads, but there are other parts of our service territory that are much harder to reach, and we get there, whatever it takes. Keeping the power on and making improvements year-round. You can always count on the Versant Power Team out in the field and behind the scenes, providing the service required to keep life's routines running smoothly. And when our work's done, we're headed home to join our neighbors. Versant Power, powering your community.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025, and just 15 days to go until spring. We'll be out there doing backyard barbecues and mowing the lawn, all those kind of things.
Certainly feels like it. This time last year, I just want to say, we did get a lot of snow mid-March last year.
Think about
you remember that?
Yeah, it's going to be great, everybody.
Great.
Just hang in there.
Yes.
Today is also Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday is a Christian holiday of fasting, sacrifice, and prayer. It marks the first day of the Lenten season when many give up certain things until after Easter. Many Christians will also attend special church services where they'll receive ash on their foreheads, which was a sign of repentance in biblical times. The ashes are prepared by burning palm leaves from the previous year's Palm Sunday service.
All right, time for history. It was on this day back in 1770. 5 colonists were gunned down by British redcoats after they gathered in Boston to protest after the soldiers were sent there to enforce unpopular taxation measures. The victims of the so-called Boston Massacre are considered the first fatalities of the American Revolutionary War. In 1845, the U.S. Congress appropriated $30,000 to ship camels to the western United States.
Why?
I don't know. I've heard about this before. I want to read a little bit more about it.
Just for the zoo?
No, I think they brought them in there for use as pack animals and that kind of thing. They were so popular over in the Middle East. Yep. They thought, hey, let's bring them over here and we'll try them out here. Yeah. I think that it really didn't work out, though, if I remember correctly. I don't remember why.
It definitely didn't. Otherwise, we would have wild camels roaming around Wyoming or something.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the time I kissed a camel on the face?
Nope.
I'll show you a picture later on.
Okay.
I still have it. It's on my Facebook page.
Make sure to post it online for everybody to see.
She was a very nice camel.
That's good.
All right, in 1868, on this date, the impeachment trial of President Andrew Johnson began for his views on the Reconstruction effort following the Civil War. He was later found not guilty and ended up remaining in office.
In 1946, Winston Churchill he delivered a famous speech in Fulton, Missouri, declaring that the Soviet Union had an iron curtain and had descended across Europe. In 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the ban on segregation in public schools. In 1963, the Wham-O toy company received a patent for the hula hoop and sold more than 25 million in the first 4 months of production. I've never been good at hula hooping.
I'm terrible at hula hooping.
If you're good at it, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
The owners were inspired to create the toy after they saw a wooden hoop that Australian children swirled around their waists during gym class. And in 2018, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met with South Korean officials for the first time since becoming a leader. They were on a mission to broker denuclearization talks between North Korea and the United States.
All right, for birthdays today, they include magician Penn Jillette from Penn & Teller, who is 70 years old today. He made it big in Vegas, and he was on TV for a lot of years.
Right.
Probably you're a little young
I know
for him.
Penn &
Do you
Teller.
remember him? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, actress Eva Mendes turns 51, and actor Paul Blackthorne turns 56 years old today. So happy birthday to them. Happy birthday to you, too, if it's your birthday.
All right, moving on now. It's dreary, but it's warm, so it's kind of more so a raincoat day than a winter coat day.
Yeah.
But if you have a combo, I'd suggest that the most.
There's always a bright side, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's Stephen Biggs with the forecast.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Temperatures have not been terribly cold this morning. We've been in the 20s and 30s overall. We've been looking pretty good in that department. Otherwise, we do have winter weather advisories that will expire at 1 p.m. this afternoon for the areas highlighted in purple. We have a little bit of a wintry mix that's currently passing through. Once we get that out of here, we'll slowly transition over to rain. There's also a wind advisory along the coast that will expire at 3 p.m. as we head towards your Thursday. And we also have alerts along the coast because of high surf that will be expected. Meanwhile, we have snow further off towards the north this morning, a little bit of a wintry mix, not too far away from Bangor, so maybe some icy roads in a few spots this morning, and then some rain as you get closer toward the coast. As we zoom things out, this is part of that big system that's tracking off towards the north and east, has a lot of precipitation with it, and it is heading in our direction. So futurecast moving forward, we will switch over to rain throughout the daytime period today with intermittent breaks. We'll have more rain on the way as we head towards Thursday morning. As for the winds, not too bad to start things off today. More gusty winds throughout the afternoon and evening time frame. Look at this as we head towards tomorrow. Gusty winds up to 30 to 40 miles per hour could occur. But otherwise, your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing rain moving in with temperatures in the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin. A small Bangor thrift store called The Attic is making a big difference in the lives of students.
Our Jody Hersey stopped by to find out more.
The Attic on Cumberland Street in Bangor is the All Saints Catholic School's thrift store. This small resale shop is run by volunteers like Donna Greenlaw.
The parish and the school families are a huge contributor to the Attic, as well as the public in general.
Shoppers will find a treasure trove of clothing, dishes, toys, and books for a fraction of the cost of buying new. And who doesn't love a bargain?
So people are able to, from their excess and from the things that they no longer use, bring them here to the Attic so that they can help those that are less fortunate.
And all proceeds from the Attic after expenses go directly back to the All Saints schools for tuition assistance, class trips, and whatever else students need. The small shop raises approximately $170,000 a year.
My mother, myself, and my children all went to St. Mary's School, which was then incorporated into All Saints. So Catholic education really means a lot to me.
You don't have to be a Catholic to go to All Saints Catholic School. Anybody can go to All Saints Catholic School.
Private schooling made possible thanks to thrifty shoppers who choose to donate and shop locally.
So it's really a lot of money from very, very small amounts, you know, but it all adds up. And it's really the whole idea that everybody can make a difference. Everybody can make a difference in people's lives.
In Bangor, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
What a great program.
I started going to the Attic because my grandma went to the Attic because she went to St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And I am just a big thrifter and I love that store.
Yeah.
I love all the things they just said.
Nice service, too.
Yep, absolutely. All right, right after the break, Tyler Cruz will have our sports updates.
Don't go away.
Winter is a time to get outside and enjoy all that Maine has to offer. And when it's time to come inside, rest assured everything's toasty because of your Fujitsu heat pump from Valley Home Services. Push a button and you'll be snuggling up on the couch in no time. Valley Home Services offers reliable rebates, significant energy savings, and expert installation. And now save $500 off each indoor unit for all systems installed by April 1st. Embrace the comfort of Fujitsu heat pumps from Valley Home Services. Call or click today.
Tanning season is here, and Gold Star Cleaners is the place to tan, with top-of-the-line beds and booths. The best part? No membership is required, and tanning packages don't expire for 2 whole years. Gold Star Cleaners locations with tanning are open from 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, so you can tan on your time. Shop our extensive line of lotions and enjoy free Winkies for the best eyewear protection in the industry. March special, buy any bottle of lotion and get 1 tan free, a huge added value to our already low lotion prices.
Don't get cold feet this winter. Stay warm and dry with high-performance footwear from Comfort Shoes and More. With an extensive selection of winter boots rated from 0 to -60 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll find comfort in knowing your feet will be warm in any weather. Discover the latest in functional and fashionable footwear with grippers built right into the sole. With boots in stock up to 6E and size 17 for men and women. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Every day of your life.
Playoff basketball is not going anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. In fact, it is back in Maine this week with Maine Women's Hoops once again hosting an America East tournament game right at home in the Pit. The Black Bears, finishing as the 4 seed in America East, will host 5 seed NJIT on Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Maine won the first matchup of the year with the Highlanders, but dropped the second one on the road in New Jersey. Highlanders junior guard Alejandra Zuniga led all scorers with 26 in that one. She had 20 in Maine's win back in January, and for the Black Bears on defense, it all starts with shutting her and the Highlanders shooters down.
We're trying to see if we can slow her down. She always seems to play really, really well against us. So, but just trying to keep them in front, trying to make things difficult.
No, I mean, she's a really, really good player, and they have some really good shooters on the team, so it's for sure a challenge. But, I mean, we're working on it throughout the week.
And Zuniga's a great player, but overall they're a really good team. Inside, outside, they got great shooters. They run the floor. They're a tough team.
Maine started the year 7-2 in conference play. They've cooled off, though, to wrap things up, going 2-5 in their last 7. A lot of that comes from inconsistencies on offense. And in order to win in the playoffs, Coach Vachon says they have to make some plays on offense and limit some of their turnovers.
Offensively, hopefully we can execute some things. One of the things that we're really emphasizing is taking care of the ball and executing, something that we really need to do well in order to, have a run in playoffs.
Wishing them luck. That game Thursday evening. We'll stay in Memorial Gym now, where the Maine men wrapped up their regular season on Tuesday against UMass Lowell. Playoff seeding still being determined across America East coming into Tuesday. We'll pick it up second half. Jaden Clayton uses the defender's back to inbound the ball, proceeds to take the contact and get the bucket to go and one. Maine takes a 2-point lead. Shortly after, Max Brooks denies a Clayton remix. Cam Morris takes it the other way and feeds Quentin Mincy. Just over a minute left in the game here. It's Mincy again. This time backs down his defender, gets it to fall. Riverhawks take a 2-point lead. Under a minute left, AJ Lopez drives to the basket. Tough shot. He gets it to go. That ties the game at 70. Maine up 1. Time winding down. It's who else but the man that's third in the country in steals. Kellen Tynes comes in, strips his defender, and he's off to the races. Maine wins 71-70. They host UMass Lowell again Saturday night for the America East quarterfinals. So Maine finishing there with the 3 seed. Staying on the court, the pride of Newport, Maine, Cooper Flagg leading his Duke Blue Devils to win number 27 on Monday night. And at least the share of the ACC regular title came along with it. Coop was a monster on Monday, especially in the second half. He ended up pouring in a game-high 28 points to go along with 8 rebounds and 7 assists, leading the second-ranked Blue Devils to a 33-point win over a good Wake Forest team. Afterwards, Cooper, who is projected as the top pick in the NBA draft, was asked if this would be his last ever game at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
I'm living in the present right now. I'm living in the moment, taking it day by day. Practice by practice, game by game. So I don't know what the future holds.
Did you allow yourself to even think that it might be your last game here?
I mean, for sure, yeah. I mean, just like I said, just living in the moment. So as of right now, it's our last game of the year in Cameron.
All right, wishing him luck whenever he decides to do. Coop and Duke close out the season against rivals North Carolina at the Dean Dome Saturday at 6:30 p.m. We'll head to the ice now as Maine men's hockey is preparing to hit the road and wrap up their regular season at UMass. They swept Vermont this past weekend to wrap up regular season action at home, picking up 2 wins over the Catamounts. The sweep was a good rebound after a loss to UConn the previous weekend. Head coach Ben Barr expressed his frustration with the lack of detail in his team's play, but he thinks his guys made the right adjustments against the Cats.
We're always looking for everything to be perfect, and that's what our guys want in our culture, and that's what we as coaches want. It's not always going to be that way, but it's, as long as we're pushing for that, we're finding ways to win, and I do think we played harder and a little more detailed last weekend than we had the previous few weekends.
The Black Bears now turn their focus to their final regular season series against a desperate UMass squad, the 16th team in the nation who's along the bubble of the NCAA tournament. And the Minutemen know they have the opportunity to pick up a few huge wins against the top 5 Maine team, but the Black Bears know they're in for a playoff-like series this weekend, and they're embracing the challenge.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, they're a good team. They're going to want some payback too for, how we played against them at home. And, we're just excited to go down there and play some hockey and, like you said, tune up for playoffs and focus on the details this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. These will be 2 playoff games, and I think that's exactly how we're going into this week. We want to treat that. So it's going to be exciting and fun to play.
That game on Friday, puck drop is at 7 p.m., and that is on Nesson. The Class B North Boys Championship takes to the Alfond on Wednesday night as boys playoff hockey rolls along here at the high school level. After defeating Hamden Academy on Saturday at Colby College, the John Baptist Crusaders, the top seed, advancing to the finals to take on the 3 seed Messalonskee Eagles. Messalonskee defeated Coney on Saturday. Puck drop is at 6 p.m. Wednesday evening, again up in Orono at Alfond Arena. All right, that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Need a trusted local contractor? Residential Roofers has been serving your community for over 30 years, specializing in groundwork, roofing, siding, windows, and doors. From premium materials to expert craftsmanship, we protect your biggest investment. And now, we're offering something special. Scan the QR code on your screen to schedule your no-obligation, free estimate and receive $250 off your first project. Don't wait. This offer won't last long. Residential Roofers. Quality you can trust, savings you'll love. Call or scan now.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Whether you can pinpoint the problem or can't quite put your finger on it, the friendly professionals from Coastal Auto Parts can help point you in the right direction. With Maine's largest network of parts, you can trust your vehicle will have what it needs to get you to the moments that matter most. Because Napa knows the keys to a winning team. And with 30 locations in Maine, Coastal Auto Parts helps keep our communities running. Team up together with the fuel that keeps us firing on all cylinders. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's a sure sign of spring when you talk about baseball and ice cream. Gifford's Ice Cream and the Boston Red Sox are now combining the two with the launch of a brand new flavor called Cookie Curveball. Ooh. It's rich coffee ice cream with pieces of cream-filled chocolate cookies and chocolate chips. Sounds pretty wonderful to me. Chief Operating Officer J.C. Gifford says the flavor was developed by the Giffords family as a special tribute to their favorite Major League Baseball team.
That's probably one of the best parts of being in this family and being part of this company is just being able to try new flavors, and it's a lot of fun because everyone gets involved, and this is one that we were all very excited with.
Well, Gifford says they appreciate all their loyal customers, especially since the fire at their Skowhegan facility. He says this launch is extra special because it's kind of putting that behind them. You can find Gifford's Cookie Curveball ice cream on store shelves soon, as well as their local ice cream stands.
Did you see on the video? They're weighing it. They're weighing the ice cream.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
I had to do that when I worked at Gifford's.
Yeah, you worked there, didn't you?
Yeah, it's like 4.8 ounces for a 2 scoop or something, and you got eventually you'd get really good because you'd be like, oh yeah, I can eyeball a scoop.
Yeah.
But they want you to because it needs to be fair for the price.
Everybody has to have the same thing. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite flavor?
I like all Gifford's ice cream pretty much. It's all good, but I'm a chocolate chip mint guy, but I like to try the other ones from time to time. If I worked there like you did, I would weigh 700 pounds.
Well, you're running around, believe it or not, because a lot of people want ice cream, so you have to run to get the ice cream.
So you're not eating
so
ice
that's
cream
kind
a
of
lot.
a plus.
Yeah,
you're getting your exercise and sugar.
So good, so good.
Okay, it's still kind of chilly for ice cream, but if you're a real ice cream fan, you know it's good any day of the week. So let's get a look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Hey, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. We have winter weather advisories across the northern parts of the state, anywhere highlighted in purple until 1 o'clock this afternoon. We have some snow and a little bit of icy precipitation passing through, which has prompted that advisory. We'll see improvement later on. We also have a wind advisory along the coast until 3 o'clock on Thursday, and some alerts along the coast because of high surf that will be moving in. In fact, it's kind of moving in already. None of the buoys are reporting this morning, but you can see from the contours here, anywhere you see these higher colors indicating some higher surf, so we're seeing some of that getting a little bit closer for us. But otherwise, here's what we got. We got rain that's been tracking through along the coast. We've had a wintry mix of icy precipitation not too far from Bangor, while further off towards the north, it's been mainly snow, and it is tracking off towards the east northeast. And as we do zoom things out, this is all part of that large system that's tracking off to the north and east, bringing showers and storms to a good part of the country and snow across parts of the Midwest Midwest as well. So futurecast for us, we have that rain and snow and that wintry mix that's passing through this morning. We'll transition to rain throughout the afternoon period with some breaks in that rain as well. But later on tonight, another wave of rain will be passing through, and again, some intermittent breaks throughout Thursday with some light showers possible later into the day. But then by Thursday night, we'll have some more rain and, yes, snow moving in as colder air begins to move in. So as for the snowfall, I'm only going to talk about today, and the additional snowfall will be taking place in the northern parts of the state. Not much of anything else further down toward the south with warming temperatures, but we will have a lot of water on the way in the form of rainfall and maybe some melted down snow as well. A good 1 to 2, maybe getting close to 3 inches of rain in a few spots before all of this begins to back off. But otherwise, wind's not much of an issue for now, but they will be increasing throughout the day and into the evening as well. Some gusts as we head towards tomorrow could reach up to 30 to, yes, even 40 miles per hour at times, and still some gusts along the coast as we head towards Thursday afternoon. Your forecast coming up for today, mid-40s. That wintry mix will be switching over to rain, and that south wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, we have rain, fog, and wind on the way with lows in the low 40s. That south wind at around 30 miles per hour. This temperature will be rising overnight. And then we have tomorrow, upper 40s, rain showers and fog, and that south wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast for your Friday. A morning chance for snow showers. Otherwise, for the most part, will be mostly cloudy. Clouds will be breaking up late in the day for your Friday. And then once we head towards Saturday, we'll be mostly cloudy, highs in the mid-30s. Then time change on Sunday, 2 a.m. becomes 3 a.m. We lose an hour of sleep. We'll be partly cloudy, highs in the low 30s.
Hi, this is Jim with Lowry & Associates.
Some guy slid across the center line and hit my daughter. The cops said the guy was driving way too fast for the snowy conditions.
I'm so sorry you guys are going through this. Is your daughter okay?
She just had surgery yesterday. Is there any way you can come meet us at the hospital?
Absolutely. I can meet you at the hospital right now.
Lowry & Associates came to the hospital and settled my daughter's case for $250,000.
I'm Jim with Lowry & Associates. Call us. We win for you.
ABC 7, Fox 22, Old Town Redemption Center, and Triple S Tax Shop want to send you to see the professional bull riders performing March 7th through the 9th at the Cross Insurance Center in Bangor. Register to win 2 tickets by stopping by Old Town Redemption Center, offering a 10% bonus on returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Or Triple S Tax Shop in Carmel for quality clothing and equestrian gear. Professional bull riders, an exciting show for the entire family.
Today, there are so many Medicare options, and they can be confusing. This is why Senior Planning Center has locations and agents all over Maine to help you secure the benefits you deserve. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? See why thousands of Mainers turn to Senior Planning Center for their Medicare needs.
Don't call an out-of-state 800 number when your help is right here at home with the Senior Planning Center. For a free Medicare review, call 207-223-6565 and speak with a licensed agent today. No obligation to enroll.
Ugh, when is my allergy spray gonna kick in?
You need Astapro.
Astapro?
It's faster, bro. 8 times faster than Flonase.
It's faster, bro.
It's faster, bro. It's faster, bro.
It's mom to you.
Astapro starts working in 30 minutes. Astapro and go.
Hi, y'all. Head towards the exit.
Oh, Mr. Johnson, what's going on? All right, folks, false alarm. False alarm? Quit badgering me, Jacob. These things are just begging to be pulled.
If you're an ABBA fan, Mamma Mia is coming back to Broadway. The musical starts previews on August 2nd at the Winter Garden Theater, where it spent much of its original run. Mamma Mia originally ran from 2001 to 2015, making it the 9th longest running show in Broadway history. I went to a Mamma Mia themed bachelorette party in Massachusetts over the summer. Yes.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. And I don't really know Mamma Mia that well, but I did dress the part.
Yeah, I like the movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Haven't seen the musical.
Well, that's what it was. It was the movie.
Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
seen the musical either.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. All right. It does look like we're running out of time for this hour. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com.
We thank you very much for joining us and hope you have a wonderful day.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
When I would visit my mother at the nursing home, there were really bad sores on her back, but nobody would tell me what was going on. Why not?
If an incident has occurred at a nursing home that's brought up cause for concern, call the twos right now.
The attorneys at Lowry and Associates helped me get answers. They held the nursing home accountable for what happened to my mother.
If you suspect nursing home abuse or neglect, we're your go-to lawyers.
Your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Here's this week's featured deal.
The Legacy Sandwich, where you can find quality homemade sandwiches that are made to order. When it comes to food, we take it seriously. That's why we serve shredded chicken and turkey on our sandwiches. Voted Bangor's best deli sandwich shop. It's not just a sandwich, it's a legacy.
On sale Thursday at 9 a.m. A limited supply available half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
It's markdown mania at the Furniture Gallery, and the deals are madness. Relax in this cozy recliner. Choose tan, gray, or brown for only $2.98. Grab a sofa chaise for just $5.98. Upgrade your living room with a sofa and love seat set, now just $7.98. Scott Living mattresses are now priced king size for a queen price. Plus, save up to 70% on in-stock clearance items. Hurry into the Furniture Gallery, shop our main family-owned business, and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. President Trump's combative address. A major storm takes aim at the east and the new era for American Idol. Overnight, President Trump addressed a divided chamber.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, some of the highlights from President Trump's speech before a joint session of Congress.
Plus, we'll hear how new tariffs on Canada could impact your electricity bill.
And Bangor officials are considering ways to fight an HIV outbreak by building a new partnership.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up over the next hour. But first, a check of that forecast. Kind of a dreary start to the day today. A little mix of rain and snow in many areas. Mostly rain right now in the Bangor area. You'll want to watch out for any slippery areas. I didn't really have any problems coming in, but the temperatures were right around that freezing line. Where are we now? It looks like the temperatures are already going up, so we might be okay at this point. But we'll see more of the same over the day ahead. But the temperatures aren't going to be much milder than we've had recently.